Okay, finals review. Here's what you're expecting on the final. Comes out to about 35 questions. First, you're just solving the equations for x, this sheet right here. Okay, this is the only x I got, no parentheses, wall goes up, 1 dot circle. Make that a plus negative, and then you solve it. So outside the circle, you got negative 14. It's negative, you're going to add it. Line up your equals, you got 1 dot x. 28 plus 14 is 42, and then we'll just go ahead and then divide by 1. If we see multiply, we need to divide. We got 42. Okay, wall goes up, dot circle. You don't put the 1 because there's already a negative 3 there. You can go straight to divide on that problem. Line the equals up, you got x. Negative 18 divided by negative 3 is 6. If we see multiply, we have to do the opposite, which is divide. Okay, next problem. Negative 7x minus 2x plus 3 equals 66. Remember, all these problems you're trying to find what the x equals. Now, the wall can't go up yet because there's 2 x's. Now, they're on the same side, okay? So you're going to make your v, okay? Now, when you make your v, again, go plus negative. All those make plus negative. Your v means you add those numbers. That's me writing ADD. So I line up my equals. We have 66 over there. And I need to add these. Okay? When they're on the same side of the equals, you do your little adding v. Negative 7 plus negative 2 is negative 9. So that's negative 9x plus 3. Now the wall can go up. Now the dot and the circle can go in, and we got 3. So we have to do, it's 3 and 3. It's positive up there, so I need to minus it. So that's 63, and you got negative 9 dot x. If we have a dot, that means we need to divide. Okay, 63 divided by negative 9 is negative 7 is the answer. Okay, again, the wall can't go up because there's 2 x's. They're on the same side of the equals, so we need to make our little v again. Okay. So what are you going to add? You're going to add negative 5 and 8. So negative 5 plus 8. Think of a number line. If you're all the way out at negative 5, you move 8 to the right, you're going to be at 3. So 3x plus the constant 3. And now the wall and the dot circle can go up. Okay, I got this 3. I got to deal with that first. Okay, it's positive, so we need to minus it. So that's 30. We got 3 dot x. Okay, time to divide. And x, 30 divided by 3 is 10. Okay, next problem. 3x plus 4 equals negative 5x plus 20. Okay, we're solving for x. All right, now you have a little issue here. There's 2 x's, but they're on opposites, plus negative. They're on opposite sides, okay? So mark one of them with an arrow. It doesn't matter. Don't make the v when they're on opposite sides. Mark one of them with an arrow. I'll go with this one. I usually would go with the smaller one. And we'll put 5x and 5x. Now look up there, that's a negative, so we're going to add it. Line up your equals. You just got the 20 over there, it's positive. And over here, 3 plus 5 is 8x plus 4. Now the wall can go up, the dot and the circle come in, we got that 4. It's positive, we need to minus 4. So you got 8 dot x. And over here, that's 16. Then it's dividing by 8. 16 divided by 8 is 2. Okay, same idea here on the next one. You got 2 x's, so the wall can't go up, but you don't want to make the v because they're on opposite sides of the equals. So mark your one of the 2 and get that one. Just put that underneath. If I have a negative up there, we're going to add it. So line up your equals. Now remember, that's negative 4 plus 6, not 4 plus 6. There's 2. So it's 2x plus 3. And over here you got 17. Time for the wall. Dot circle. 3, 3, minus, minus. So you got 14 and 2 dot x. So the dot means multiply 2 times x equals 14. So to solve for x, I need to divide by 2. 14 divided by 2 equals 7. Okay, pretty easy one in this next one. You can do the wall right away because this is the only x I have. Negative 7. Got a plus 2, so we need to, 2 is positive, we minus it. Okay, negative 19 minus 2 is negative 21. And now you can divide. Okay, so negative 21 divided by negative 7 is 3. Okay, next one's a quick one. Wall goes up, dot circle. I don't have anything outside the circle, so I can go straight to the dividing. So x equals 7. Let's go to the next page. You got a parentheses here, okay? So you can't do a wall, obviously, with parentheses. So make all those plus negatives. And the number that's right in front of the parentheses is negative 6. So that's the number I do the rainbow distribution from. So negative 6, and I'm going to multiply that by two things, 1x and 5. So that's going to be negative 6x, and that's going to be negative 30. So line up your equals, and on this side, you need to write negative 6x plus negative 30. You're going to put 36 all by itself. Now, don't forget something. I just multiplied this by this and this by this, but I forgot the 3x we can't forget. We put plus 3x. Now, the wall still can't go up because there's two x's, but at least the parentheses is gone. So the x's are on the same side, though, so we need to do our v. Add the like terms together when they're on the same side like that. So negative 6 plus 3 is negative 3. So it's negative 3x plus negative 30. Now the wall can go up and the dot and circle comes into play. So you got the 30. Now it's a negative 30, so we need to add. So that's going to be 66, and over here negative 3 dot x. Divide by negative 3. We have x. 66 divided by negative 3 is negative 22. Okay, I want to change this problem, cross that out, and I want you to put x divided by 4. Okay. Now the wall can go up. Now you're not going to make a dot because there's a number under it. So there's not a multiplier on the x, it's a divider. So circle the divider. First we got that 2 here. It's positive, so we minus it. Line the equals up. It's negative 12, and then x divided by 4. Now if I see divide, I'm going to multiply, and it doesn't matter how I multiply, I just need to multiply the two numbers with the loop, okay? So I multiply, take 4 times negative 12 is negative 48. Here's the solution for x. Okay, now back page is blank. Now we're going to get into some word problems. I kind of will help you out a little bit to tell you what you need to do. The bill for the repair of your car costs $110 for the part. It also costs $25 per hour for labor. If you are charged $180, how many hours did it take to repair your car? Now I want you to look up at that table with the hours and the money. Even at 0 hours, we still have $110. So when I actually have a value right there for my y, by the way, the first column's x, the second column's y. When your y actually starts with a number, you want to make the 3 boxes with the line over here and then write the equation. So I'm going to repeat that again. If I have a number for y, if y does not begin at 0, Okay, I want to make the 3 boxes with the line because I know I'm going to put 110 as my beginning amount. Now your 2 labels are dollars and hours. Hours is X, time is always X, and money's Y. Then per, what's the dollars per hour we have? 25, so it's 25X. So that's called your slope, 25x, and then plus equals y. Now you can write the equation, okay? So 110 plus 25x equals y. Now it says hours equals. Now hours is x, so I have to find what x equals. Well, that means I need to actually put a number in for the y, and the number I'm going to put in is $180. So 110, that's right there. Okay, and then the wall goes up. The dot and circle is made. We got 110. If you look above, you see it's positive, so I minus it. 180 minus 110 is 70. And then I'm going to divide, time to divide, by 25. So 70 divided by 25 gives me 2.8, so it's 2.8 hours. All right, now, the next one's pretty much the same thing, so we're not going to do it because we have to get to other stuff. It's the same thing, it's not a different problem. It's just with different numbers and different words. I do want to go over this one. To become a member at a golf course, you have to pay a $30 membership. The cost of admission is $5 per day for members. Non-members pay $7 per day. For how many days does it cost for members and non-members equal? Now, look at your amounts. This is X days. That's a dollar sign there. X dollar sign. Now, there's 2 tables because you have the members and the non-members. You want to know when the costs are equal. Don't put that sign right there. Okay. So I got 0 days, but they have to pay $30 to start with. And they don't have to pay anything, but because they actually have to pay something at the beginning, we want to make our boxes. And since there are 2 tables, we're going to make 2 lines. Okay. So you got dollars and days. X is days, Y is dollars. X is the time. If you have a word that represents time, that needs to be the X. And X can never be money. So per, dollars per day. Now you have 2 of them. You got 5x and 7x. Don't add them. Keep them separate because those are each your slopes. Okay? So 5x, 7x. Now the 30 goes at the beginning of this line, plus, don't put y when there's 2 lines. Here we'll put 0 at the beginning. Now I want to know when these are equal. When is 30 plus 5 times x equal to 0 plus 7 times x? So I line up my equation. On one side, I look at the first line, 30 plus 5x. Now on the other side, I look at the second line, 0 plus 7x. I would just put 7x. I wouldn't put 0. You can if you want, but it's kind of a waste. Now you got x. You can't make your wall yet because there's 2 x's. So put an arrow on the smaller one. Let's add or subtract that. Look up, it's positive, so we need to minus it. So that's 30. 2x. Now the wall can go up and the dot and the circle can be made. Okay, we can now go straight to the dividing. 2 times x is 30. I'm guessing it's probably 15. Okay, so 15 is my days. And then the next problem is pretty much the same thing. You would set up 2 lines. You have to use the lines because you have that beginning amount right there. Okay, cross this out. You got other things to do. Okay, now the next thing, ratios and proportions. Solve for the x variable. This is easy. If nothing's happening to the only x, you can cross multiply and divide. You take 9 times 25, multiply those 2, and then divide by the other number. 112.5. Now, this one's not as easy because you got a bunch of different numbers. First off, you have two x's. Secondly, you got things with the x's, 3 times 3 and adding 4 and then a minus 4. So we have another way to do that. If cross multiply and divide doesn't work, we go A, B, C, D. Okay? We make the little equation. And A gets times by B because those are diagonal. And then C gets times by D. So the AX for A is just 3. Now B is an expression. It's x minus 4. I would put a 1 in front and a plus negative. C is 2 and D is 3x plus 4. Okay, now you need to do the rainbows. Here's my 3. So it'll be 3 and 3. I will take 3 times 1x and 3 times negative 4. So that's 3x, and that's negative 12. So line your equals up and write 3x plus negative 12. Now over on the other side, I got to distribute the 2. So 2 and 2 times 3x and times 4. So that's 6x, and that's 8. 6x plus 8. Okay, now the wall can't go up because there's two different x's, and they're on opposite sides, so don't do the V. That's what you do when they're on the same side, but opposite, mark the smaller one. And if I see positive, I need to minus it so it goes away. So line your equals up, you got negative 12. And over here you got 3x plus 8. Now the wall can go up and the dot and the circle. If we do have a plus 8, we have to eliminate. So that's going to be negative 20, and then you got 3 dot x. So divide by 3, and you got your answer. Negative 20 divided by 3 is negative 6.6 repeating. Okay, percent sentences. What is 63% of 150? Now it's the percent goes over 100%, and then it's is over of. Then I'll be able to just cross multiply and divide. I just got to put things in the right place. So percent, I've got 63%. After of, I see 150. Now I don't have the is, so that's x, and then I just cross multiply and divide. 63 times 150 divided by 100. You multiply the two that you know that are diagonal, and then divide by 100. Okay, 94.5. And you don't need to put a label if it's on the is of side, because that's just a number you figured out. 150% of what number is 34? Remember, it's always this way. It's always is and of. So you got 150%. Now after of, I see the word what. Okay, so that means x would be here, and the is would be 34. So I cross multiply and divide. 100 times 34 divided by 150. 22.6 repeating. Don't freak out if you get a decimal like that. Just write it. What percent of 32 is 40? Okay, is and of. Now this time that's not a percent and that's not a percent. It says what percent, so that's my x. After of, I see 32. And then 40 is the is. So this percent's going to be higher than 100 because 40 is higher than 32. So to match it, I'm going to have to get a percent higher than 100. So I take 100 times 40 divided by 32, and I get 125. You want to put a percent label on that because the x is the percent. Okay. Now, similar triangles, you have to find how long side x is. These two triangles are similar, same shape, different sides. You set up a proportion. You put your x over 5. You can also go 5 on top. It doesn't matter. And then what side is similar to x on the other triangle? 18. So that's got to be across from x. And then similar to the 5, we have 7.5. And then I'll be able to cross multiply and divide. 5 times 18 divided by 7.5 is 12. Okay, convert 45 pounds to ounces, and we're given the information that there are 16 ounces every 1 pound. 16 ounces equals 1 pound. So I set up my proportions. Now on the first ratio I put the rate, 16 OZ for ounces, 1 pound. You can put LB if you want. Make sure you put the labels in the same order on the other ratio. Got 45 pounds. So 45 pounds, and I'm trying to figure out how many ounces. So it's 16 times 45 divided by 1. That'd be 720. I would like you to put OZ on that. So that's how many ounces. Now you get some more word problems, but again, use the table to help to dictate how you set up the problem. In the first 4 games of the season, a soccer team scored 10 goals. If this trend continues, how many goals will the team score in the remaining 18 games of the season? All right, now I want you to look up here. That's X, that's Y. The Y starts at 0 along with the X, and there's only one table. So you don't make a line, okay, because you won't have anything to put at the beginning of the line. You go straight into a proportion when these start at 0. Now, if you don't have a time unit like minutes, hours, days, months, it doesn't matter what label goes on top. Now, if you're going to use this, fill out the rest of the table. Okay, you got 4 games, and that goes with 10 goals. You've got 18 games, and I don't know how many goals, so that's X. Just put question mark or something. Okay, it doesn't matter the letter. Okay, so games, goals, goals. So 4 games, 10 goals. And we have 18 games, X goals. Cross, multiply, and divide, and you got it. See, you don't want to make the line when the Y starts at 0. Because the X always starts at 0. Okay, it's when we don't have anything for this Y, it's 0. We want to go to proportions. Best way to solve the problem. So that's 45 goals in 18 games. By the way, if you played 0 games, you're not going to score any goals, so that's why that's proportional. Okay, number 9, I kind of messed up something here. I want you to put 0 and 0 before we read it. Okay, that's kind of what I want to sit there. I can paint 3 figurines in 20 minutes. My friend can paint 1 figurine in 10 minutes. How long will it take us to paint 12 figurines working together? Now again, 0 minutes would be, so that starts at 0, and so does that. So no lines, okay? No lines when that Y, that second unit, begins at 0 along with the first unit, okay? Make your proportions. But since there are 2 tables, see on the back side there's only 1 table, but when there's 2, we need to add another ratio into that, okay? So, he can do 3 figurines in 20 minutes. Now I move to the other table because it's a different person. He can do 1 figurine in 10 minutes, and together they have to do 12 figurines. I don't know how many minutes, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Now, you have got to put your time unit on the bottom. You need to be putting minutes on bottom. If you have a time unit in the problem, that has to be on the bottom. And then figurines would go on the top. So the first ratio would be 3 figurines in 20 minutes. For the second one, we got 1 figurine in 10 minutes. And then for the one all by itself, that's together. We have 12 figurines, but I don't know how many minutes, so that's X. Now I want to cross multiply and divide, but I need to add these fractions together. So on my calculator, I take 3 ABC 20 plus 1 ABC 10, and that takes me to 1/4. So that side is now simplified. So figurines, minutes, they can do 1 figurine in 4 minutes if they work together. That's their rate. They get 1 done every 4 minutes. So 4 times 12 divided by 1 is 48. Okay, number 10, percents. and fractions, word problems. A racer has completed 5% of his race. He's completed 10 laps. How many laps does a race have? Line up your proportions, and you want to put your percent over 100%. 5 is a percent. Now, it's hard to figure out where the 10 goes. It's why you need to put what I put down here. The top is what I've circled, has completed. And the bottom is always what's your total, okay? 100% is a total. So, has completed and total. Now, can 10 laps go and has completed? Yeah, it says it's completed, so put the 10 there and the X there. Now you can cross multiply and divide. 100 times 10 divided by 5, and that's 200. Now the label matches a 10. 10 laps, 200 laps. Now we attack a fraction just like a percent. We just don't put 100 on the bottom. 4/7 of the animals in the park were birds, so that's 4 over 7. If there were 200 birds, how many animals were there? Okay, so the top is the part we've circled, were birds, and then total. And over here, the actual amount that were birds and the total. Okay, can you put 200 in the were birds? Yes, you can. Okay, there were 200 birds, so that goes here. And I'm figuring out the total right there. So I take 7 times 200 divided by 4, and I got 350. Although you wouldn't label it birds, it says how many animals, so animals. Because 200 is how many birds you have. You wouldn't have, Number 12, a watch that used to cost $89.99 is marked up in price by 12%. Find the price of the watch after it was marked up. Now, I'm going to simplify this. You're going to put 100%, but you're not going to put 12%. I underlined up so that you can remember to take 100 plus 12, and that would be 112. If it's 12 off, it's minus 12, but we're going to go like this. Okay, and it says after circled. Well, here's what this means. 100% is always before, and the top percent is always after. And that's always that way. After, before. Well, I have after circled. That means I don't know it. So X is after, and then $89.99 is before. So again, with that, when you add or subtract from 100%, it always goes after, before. After is the, 100's always the before, the other one's the after. So 112 times 89.99 divided by 100. $100.79. So again, we're using proportions. Just watch out for that underlined word. That means you don't put the percent. You got to either add it to 100 or subtract it from 100. And then it becomes an after, before. After, before. Okay, 13. Two cars travel for the same amount of time. The first car travels 80 miles per hour. The second car travels 75 miles per hour. If the faster car travels 45 miles further, find the distance traveled by each car. Okay, this time, distance, speed means you're going to set up a table. Okay, and you want to put fast and slow to compare the two cars. So on the first one, you put speed, and then distance, and then time. You're always going to go in that order. And the speed is the miles per hour, mph. The distance is just miles without per hour, and the time is the hours. So your speed, the miles per hour, we got 80 miles per hour and 75 miles per hour, so we put the 80 for fast, 75 for slow. Now go cross those two out. Now how about just the miles? Well, I see 45 miles, but it says one's 45 miles further than the other. I don't know the miles anyone traveled, so I put two X's. But because I know the faster one went 45 miles further, I'm allowed to put a plus 45 there. and just leave that one alone. Now the time, you don't have any numbers left, man, so you have to use this up here. You need to write time is distance divided by speed. So here we got distance, x plus 45, and the speed is 80. The distance here is x and the speed 75. Now you make that into a proportion. X plus 45 divided by 80 equals x divided by 75. Now you can't cross multiply and divide, so you have to go to the A, B, C, D method of solving it. So I take A times B and then C times D. So A is x plus 45. Might want to put a 1 there. B is 75. C is x. And D is 80. Now over here we have to distribute from the 75, the number all by itself. So 75, 75. I'll be taking it times 1x and times 45. So that's 75x. That's 3,375. So over there, that's what you write, 75x plus 3,375. Then on the other side, you can just write 80x. X is on opposite sides. Well, then we need to get the smaller one out of there. It's positive, so again, we minus. So 3,375, and over there you got 5x. Walk and go up, dot and circle, and then we divide by 5. So 3,375 divided by 5 is going to be 675. Now to find your other one, so we know that x is 675, we can just add 45. 720. Okay, so that's that one. Now the other one goes pretty quick if you know what you're doing. There's not a lot of calculations you have to make. Only a couple, I think. Write an equation based off the data exhibited in the table. You see the number of tricks a dog can do, number of biscuits left to give the dog. 0 tricks, he's got 23. After he does 1 trick, then he has 20 left because you give him 3. After 2, 17. 3, 14 left. Look at your B. Where's your B start at? 23. And then from there, you're going up or down. You're going down, so you put a minus. Now, to figure out the number you minus, just start with your highest number in the table and just subtract. 3. 20 minus 17. 3. 17 minus 14. 3. 3, but then underline your 3. And meanwhile, it goes down 3 every time he does how many tricks. What's that going up by? It's going up by 1, so you need to underline the 3 and put a 1 there. And then please put the n variable behind your 3 over 1. Okay? By the way, if there's a 1 underneath, you could pretty much get rid of the 1 if you wanted to. You still need to put the n there, all except that or that. By the way, if that would have been like a 5, then you can't get rid of it. Okay? So again, I'll repeat that. You start at 23, and from there you're going down. Just look, you're minusing. To figure out what you're minusing, just start subtracting 3, 3, 3. Okay. Remember, you got to underline the 3, and that's going by 1. Remember to put that variable there. Tell whether the relationship is linear or nonlinear. Now look at your y. Start with the highest number. 12 minus 10, that's 2. Now go 10. 10 minus 8, that's 2. 8 minus 6, 2. I got 2 all the way through. That one's linear. Okay, now start with 10 minus 5 is 5. But 5 minus 2 is not 5, so that's nonlinear. I know that right away. Okay, you probably don't remember how to do the domain and range word problem. The Price of turkey is $2.19 per pound. There's a customer limit of 8 pounds that you can buy. What's the domain and range of this situation? Is the graph continuous or discrete? You make a table, X, Y. You got money in pounds. Well, X can't be money ever, so money in pounds. Okay. So if I buy 0 pounds, I don't have to pay any money. If I buy 1 pound, I have to pay $2.19. 2 pounds, you just add another $2.19. That's $4.38. Then go to 3, and then add another $2.19. $6.57. Okay. Now make continuation dots. You have a limit. You have 8 pounds. So 8 goes here. Now to find the money that goes with the 8, you just simply take your 8 and multiply it by $2.19, because every one of those 8 pounds costs $2.19. So 8 times 2.19 is $17.52. Now if the limit they give you is here, then you divide by the rate of change, but it wasn't. Now the domain is the X, 0 to 8. The range is the Y, 0 to 1752. Now continuous or discrete. Now I'm going to put a 2.5 right there. You could do 1.5, whatever. Could you buy 2.5 pounds? Sure you could. So it's continuous. If you couldn't buy a decimal for pounds, it's discrete. Okay, graph the function using the table. Okay, this is kind of annoying. Now, using a table, I would pick numbers for X, make a wall on that side, make the dot, but don't circle it. Okay, this is the side where we're putting numbers in for X. I would go -2 through 2. I think that's how we did it. Okay, so go over here. To find the Y, you come over here. You got -2 times an X. X, you're going to put in -2. And then -3. So I got 1. Now clear it. -2 times, and then you're going to put -1, and then -3 before you hit equal. You're just replacing the X with the number over here, -1. -2 times 0, -3, -3. I'm kind of noticing a pattern. -2 times 1 minus 3. And I'm guessing the next one's -7. Now here's the X. I'm going to only number if you need to. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then this way's negatives. And then the Y, same thing, but the Y is this one. So 1, 2, 3. You don't have to put 0 again. Once you put it, it's done. And then the Y is your negatives. So again, and here, if this helps, you can do it positive, positive, negative, positive. This is negative, negative, and that's positive, negative. Then you just go graph them. So -2, 1. So I go to -2 on X, 1 for Y. Negative, positive. -1, -1. I go -1, -1. Put it on the grid. 0, -3. So X0 means I don't move anywhere forward or backwards. I just go down 3. 1, -5. So now I'm moving forward to 1. Then 2, -7. Okay. Then you take your ruler. Just make the line without the ruler today. Okay. All right, then the last one. Tell whether the graph represents a function. It's the vertical line test. Can you go through 2 points? Nope, that'd be 1. 1, 1, 1, 1. If everything's 1, it's a function. See, right here is not a function because I can go through 4 of them at the same time with a vertical line. It has to be vertical, can't be this way. It has to be vertical. So that is not a function. Now you get a graph. It's a continuous graph because it's like a bunch of points that are connected. You cannot make a vertical line through that twice. It's impossible. So that is a function. For example, right there, it just touches it in one place. Same with there, anywhere. Okay, identify the domain and range. Determine whether the function relation is a function. So domain and range. X, Y, X, Y, X, Y, X, Y. All the X's are your domain. -2, 8, 3, and 5. And then we got 5, 6, 12, and 6. Now the domain is where you're looking. Do you have any repeats in there? You don't, so it's a function. It's basically this without the graph. Okay. Domain, range. 9. Then 3, 4, 9, and the range 6, 8, 9, 2. Now it's all about the domain. No, there are repeats in the domain, so that's a non-function, not a function. Okay, a bottle holds 48 teaspoons of vanilla. The amount of vanilla remaining in the bottle decreases by 2 teaspoons per batch of cookies. Write a function rule to represent the situation. It's the same thing you did on the first problem, you just don't see the table. That can make it easier, actually. You start with V, and you start with 48. Then you're decreasing by 2. That'd be -2. But then you put B after the 2 because it's every batch. Every time there's a batch, you go down 2. You don't know how many batches, that's why the B's there.